It all began on a stormy night, when a single knock on the door shattered her world. Moments later, her brother's urgent message lit up her phone. Don't trust anyone. Then she saw a man from her past, standing in the rain, holding something that once belonged to her missing mother. From that moment, every step pulled her deeper into a dangerous game of secrets, betrayal, and impossible choices. Watch till the very end to uncover the truth behind the night. Everything changed, and if you crave more heart-pounding, twist-filled stories, hit subscribe now and share your own mystery ideas in the comments. The night the sirens wailed louder than the rain was the night everything changed. It wasn't just a sound. It was the way the streetlights flickered like they were afraid to witness what was coming. Knox stood at the window of her small second-floor apartment in Portland, Oregon, clutching the silk scarf her mother had given her before she left Thailand years ago. She had worn it on the plane the day she arrived in America. She wore it again tonight without knowing why. Down below, police cars swarmed the corner store where she bought jasmine rice every Sunday. Their flashing lights painted the wet pavement in desperate blues and reds. Her phone buzzed. A single message from her brother, Chai. Asterisk, don't go outside. Don't trust anyone. Asterisk. Her chest tightened. Chai never sent messages like that. He was calm, steady, the one who reminded her to keep the sticky rice from drying out, who teased her about how she always burned the garlic. She pressed her forehead to the glass, scanning the street. The air smelled like rain, exhaust, and something faintly metallic. Then she saw him, a man in a dark hoodie, walking slowly past a police barricade, head down, moving like he didn't belong, yet somehow knew exactly where to go. He glanced up, and for one split second, his eyes locked with hers. They weren't the eyes of a stranger. Her breath caught. It was the same look she'd seen once before, back in Chiang Mai, the night her mother disappeared. Her phone buzzed again. This time, no words, just a photo of her apartment building, taken from the street. At that exact moment, someone knocked on her door. The knock was soft at first, almost polite, like someone testing if she was home. Then it came again, 3 sharp raps that echoed through the narrow hallway of her apartment. Knock's fingers trembled around her phone. She stepped back from the window. Her heart beat loud enough she swore whoever was outside could hear it. She thought calling Chai, but the image on her screen froze her in place. Whoever had taken that photo had been here, right here, moments ago. She glanced toward the small kitchen where her mother's old mortar and pestle sat on the counter, its stone surface worn smooth from years of pounding lemongrass and chili. Her bare feet made no sound on the floor as she moved toward it. Another knock, this time slower, almost deliberate. She picked up the heavy mortar, gripping it tight in both hands. A man's voice came through the door, low and muffled. "Miss Knock, I'm with the police. We need to talk." Her gut twisted. She had lived in the States long enough to know police didn't usually show up at your door without uniform, without backup, without reason. And they certainly didn't knock like that. She stayed silent, watching the shadow beneath the door shift. Then the voice again, softer. "It's about your brother." Her stomach dropped. The shadow moved away. Then came the sound of footsteps in the hall. She crept to the peephole, but the hall was empty. Somewhere below, a door slammed, followed by the echo of hurried footsteps on wet pavement. Her phone buzzed again. It was a voice message from Chai. Only 3 words. "Don't trust him." Her thumb hovered over the play button, her pulse thudding in her ears. She hit it. Chai's voice came through, breathless, like he'd been running. "Knock, he found me." Then a rush of static, a muffled shout in the background, and the message cut off. Her knees felt weak. She steadied herself against the wall, gripping the cold plaster. The rain outside was coming down harder now, drumming against the thin glass windows. She glanced toward the window again, afraid to look, but unable to stop herself. The man in the hoodie was back, standing across the street, not moving, not hiding, just watching her, in his hand. Something glinted under the streetlight, a small silver charm shaped like a lotus flower. Her breath hitched. She knew that charm. It had belonged to her mother. The man raised it slightly, like an offering or a warning. Then he turned and walked toward the alley, vanishing into the shadows without looking back. Knock's phone buzzed once more. This time, it wasn't Chai. It was an unknown number. And the message read, *, you have 1 hour. Bring the scarf, *. Her hands tightened around the silk scarf, the fabric warm from where she had been holding it. She stared at the message, the words burning into her mind. 1 hour. Her eyes darted to the clock above the stove. 8:47 p.m. Whatever this was, it wasn't random. Her mother's charm. Chai's warning. Now the scarf. She thought back to the night her mother vanished in Chiang Mai. The scarf had been the last thing she handed Nak before sending her inside to bed. There had been shouting outside, voices she didn't recognize, and then silence. Nak grabbed her jacket and shoved the scarf into the pocket. She opened the front door, just enough to peer into the hallway. Empty. The air smelled faintly of cigarette smoke, though no one in her building smoked. She moved quickly down the stairs, her bare feet sliding into sneakers at the landing. The street outside glistened with rain, and the hum of police radios still lingered near the corner store. But the man in the hoodie was gone. She spotted the alley where he had disappeared, a narrow strip of darkness between 2 brick buildings. Her phone vibrated again. A new message. It was a map pin. The location was less than 10 minutes away. Chinatown. And beneath it, a single word. Alone. Knock's breath clouded in the cold night air as she stepped off the curb, her sneakers splashing in shallow puddles. The city felt different now, quieter, like it was holding its breath. She kept her hood up, moving fast, but trying not to look like she was running. Every set of footsteps behind her made her glance over her shoulder. Every passing car made her heart race. The map pin led her deeper into Chinatown, past closed dim sum shops and glowing red lanterns swaying in the rain. The smell of wet asphalt mixed with incense from a small temple at the corner. She slowed, her eyes catching on the carved wooden door with a gold lotus emblem. Her chest tightened. That lotus, it matched the charm a man had shown her. Her phone buzzed again. A message this time with a grainy photo. It was Chai. His hands were tied, his face pale and wet, sitting in what looked like a dimly lit room with paper screens behind him. The text beneath the photo read, * inside. Back room. Don't speak to anyone. *. She pushed open the temple door. The warm scent of sandalwood hit her instantly. A monk in orange robes looked up from sweeping the floor, his expression unreadable. Nak kept her head down and walked past him, following the faint hum of voices deeper inside. The hallway narrowed, lined with flickering candles, each one casting shadows that seemed to move when she wasn't looking. At the end, a shoji-style sliding door stood half open, pale light spilling out. She took one step closer, and a hand shot out from the shadows, grabbing her wrist. Nak gasped, nearly dropping the scarf from her pocket. The grip was firm but not painful, and when she looked up, she saw a woman's face. Sharp eyes, wet hair clinging to her cheeks, and a voice that carried the weight of urgency. "Don't go in there," the woman whispered. Her Thai accent cleared despite her hushed tone. Nak froze. "Who are you?" she whispered back. The woman glanced toward the open door, then back at Nak. "Someone who knows what they want from you. And if you step inside, you won't walk out." Her heart hammered. "My brother, he's in there." The woman's jaw tightened. "I know. That's why you have to listen to me." Before Nak could speak again, the sliding door creaked wider. A man's silhouette appeared in the doorway. Broad shoulders, slow movements, the faint jingle of metal in his hand. He stepped forward, his face coming into the candlelight. It was a man in the hoodie. Only now, the hood was down and she could see him clearly. Older than she remembered, but unmistakable. The same man who had stood outside her house in Chiang Mai the night her mother disappeared. And in his hand, still glinting under the dim light, was the lotus charm. He smiled faintly, his voice low. "You're late, Nak." Her throat went dry, the scarf in her pocket, suddenly feeling heavier than stone. The woman's grip on her wrist tightened, but Nak couldn't move, her eyes locked on the man's. "What do you want?" she managed to ask, her voice steadier than she felt. He glanced at the woman holding her, then back to Nak. "Same thing I wanted years ago. What your mother promised me." Nak's mind spun. "My mother's gone." He tilted his head slightly, as if amused. Gone isn't the same as dead. A cold shiver ran through her. The woman beside her whispered sharply in Thai, "Don't believe him." His gaze hardened. "You have 1 hour left. Bring the scarf, or you'll lose your brother the same way you lost her." From inside the dimly lit room, Nock heard it, a muffled sound, strained, familiar. Chai's voice, calling her name. Her breath hitched, and instinct made her take a step forward. The man held up the lotus charm like a warning. "Choose carefully, Nock. One path leads to him, the other to the truth." The woman at her side pulled her back, her voice urgent. "If you go now, you'll never see daylight again." Somewhere outside, a clock tower began chime. The deep, resonant chimes echoed to the temple walls, each one hammering into Nock's chest. 9 strikes. 9 o'clock. 1 hour left. The man's eyes never left hers as he stepped backward into the room, sliding the door almost shut, leaving only a sliver of light spilling into the hallway. She caught a glimpse inside. Chai, bound to a chair, his face pale and drawn, eyes wide with fear. Then the door clicked shut. The woman released Nock's wrist, her hand trembling slightly. "We have to move. Now!" Nock turned on her. "Who are you?" "My name's Molly. I knew your mother." That stopped her cold. Molly's voice softened. She was trying to protect something. "Something you have." Nock's hand instinctively went to the scarf in her pocket. Molly nodded. "It's not just a scarf. It's the key to why she vanished. And why your brother's in there now." The rain outside pounded harder, seeping into the hallway's musty air. Nock's phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number. This time it was a live photo. The image shifted as it played. A blurred hand holding a knife, moving slowly toward Chai's throat. The message beneath it read, 30 minutes. Nock's breath quickened, her fingers tightening around the phone until her knuckles ached. Molly stepped closer, lowering her voice. "If you rush in there now, you'll die beside him. If you trust me, I can get you both out, but you have to do exactly what I say." "Why should I trust you?" Nock's voice cracked, a mix of fear and anger. "Because," Molly said, eyes burning into hers, "I was there the night your mother disappeared, and I know who took her." Nock's stomach twisted. It was him. Molly shook her head slowly. "He's not working alone. He never has." The candlelight flickered, casting shadows that seemed to lean closer, listening. Molly pulled a small, folded slip of paper from inside her jacket and pressed it into Nock's hand. "Go to this address. Bring the scarf. Don't let anyone see you. I'll handle the man in the hoodie until you get there." From inside the room came a sudden crash, with splintering, a chair tipping over, Chai's muffled shout. Nock's pulse spiked. "I can't leave him." "You leave now or neither of you walks away," Molly hissed, shoving her toward the temple side exit. The sound of hurried footsteps came from the hallway behind them. Molly's face hardened. "They've found us. Go!" Nock bolted to the narrow door into the rain-soaked alley, clutching the scarf and the slip of paper, her breath ragged. Behind her, the temple side door slammed open, and a voice she hadn't heard in years called her name. She froze mid-stride, the rain dripping from her hood, pooling cold at the base of her neck. That voice, steady, low, and threaded with something that made her chest ache. She turned slowly. A man stood in the doorway, his black coat plastered to him from the downpour. His hair was longer, streaked with gray, but his face, she knew it instantly. "Dad!" The word slipped out before she could stop it. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to just them. The rain, the dim alley, the disbelief tightening her throat. He took one step forward, hands out like he was calming a frightened animal. "Nock, you need to listen to me. They've lied to you about everything." Her grip on the scarf tightened. "You're supposed to be dead." "I had to disappear," he said quickly, glancing over his shoulder toward the temple. "For your mother. For you. But now they're using Chai to get to what she hid." Nock's mind was spinning, her pulse too loud to think straight. "Where is she?" His jaw flexed, his eyes shadowed with something between guilt and fear. "Alive. But if you go with her telling you, you'll never see her." Behind him, A figure moved inside the temple. A flash of the hoodie, the glint of the lotus charm. Her father's voice dropped. You have to choose right now. Come with me or go after Chai. The rain beat harder, the slip of paper in her pocket growing damp, the seconds ticking away in her head. Nock's heart pounded so hard it hurt. Chai's face in the photo flashed in her mind. Pale, terrified, the knife inching toward his throat. But then came her father's words, raw and urgent. Asterisk alive. Your mother is alive. Asterisk. Her breath caught. If I go with you, what happens to him? Her father's jaw tightened. I'll find a way to get him back. But if you walk into that room now, you'll hand them exactly what they've been waiting for since Thailand. The alley seemed to close in around her, rainwater swirling at her shoes, neon reflections bleeding into the puddles. From inside the temple came a muffled shout. Chai's voice again, strained, desperate. Nock's fingers brushed the scarf in her pocket. The silk warmed despite the cold. Her father reached for her arm. We're out of time. A shadow appeared at the mouth of the alley. A man in dark clothes, moving toward them with steady, deliberate steps. The hoodie was gone. This one wore a black suit, his hair slicked back, and in his hand was something small and metallic. He stopped just short of the light, his voice smooth but chilling. She comes with me. Her father stepped in front of her. Not tonight. The man's smile was slow, deliberate. Then your brother dies in the next 5 minutes. The words hit her like a punch, knocking the air from her lungs. Her father didn't move, but she could feel the tension radiating off him like heat. The man in the suit tilted his head, studying her with calm precision. You think you're choosing between your brother and your mother, he said softly, but you're not. You're choosing who dies first. A sharp crack of thunder rolled above them, the sound bouncing off the wet brick walls of the alley. Nock's grip on the scarf tightened until her knuckles turned white. Her father's voice was low, almost a growl. She's not going anywhere with you. The man in the suit's eyes glinted. Then you better be ready to watch your son bleed. Her father lunged forward before the words had even finished leaving the man's mouth. They collided hard, their struggle splashing rainwater up against the alley walls. Nock stumbled back, her heart slamming in her chest. She could hear the grunts, the scrape of shoes on wet pavement, the metallic clang of something hitting the ground. Then she saw it, what had fallen. A phone, its screen still lit. A live video feed. Chai, bound, gagged, eyes wide, shaking his head at her in frantic warning. Nock's knees nearly buckled as she knelt, the rain dripping off her hood and splattering onto the phone screen. The camera shook slightly, as if someone holding it was moving closer to Chai. The view shifted, revealing the gleam of the knife again, its tip pressing lightly against his neck. Her pulse roared in her ears. Stop, she shouted, her voice cracking against the alley walls. Both men froze mid-struggle, their ragged breaths clouding in the cold air. The man in the suit turned his head toward her, a thin smile curling on his lips. You see, Nock? We control the clock. Not you. Her father's grip tightened on the man's collar, his teeth clenched. Run, he hissed to her without looking back. Take the scarf and run now. But her feet wouldn't move. On the phone screen, Chai's eyes locked on hers, pleading. He shook his head again, more desperately this time, as if he was trying to tell her something important. Something she wasn't understanding. The knife tip traced a slow, deliberate line against the skin. Then a voice came from off-screen, low and distinct. A woman's voice. One Nock hadn't heard in years. Her mother's. And she was saying Nock's name. Nock's breath caught, the rain around her seeming to fade into silence. She stared at the screen, willing the voice to speak again, to prove it wasn't just her mind playing tricks. Then it came, clearer this time, urgent, almost trembling. Asterisk, Nock! Don't give them the scarf. Asterisk, her pulse stumbled. The scarf in her pocket fell heavier, as if it carried every answer she'd been chasing, and every danger she feared. The man in the suit wrenched free from her father's grip, straightening his jacket like nothing had happened. You hear her, he said evenly. Now you understand why we need it. Her father stepped between them, his chest rising and falling hard. You're not getting it. Not tonight. Not ever. The man in the suit's smile thinned. Then this end for your son. Right now. On the phone, the camera drew closer to Chai's face. His eyes, still locked on hers, shifted, darting down. For the briefest moment, she caught sight of something on his lap, a folded piece of paper. The same kind Molly had given her. A rush of realization hit. He wasn't just begging her to save him. He was telling her there was more. Another layer. Another game being played. The man in the suit took a slow step toward her, palm out. The scarf. Knock's fingers tightened around it. Her father's voice cutting through the rain. Knock, think, once you hand it over, there's no coming back. Somewhere in the background of the feed, her mother's voice rose again, urgent, almost breaking. Asterisk, it's not what they think it is. Asterisk, her father turned, just for a heartbeat, meeting her eyes. There was something there she hadn't seen before, not fear, but a warning. And that was when she realized neither of them might be telling her the truth. The weight of the rain, the street, the night, it all pressing on her, making it hard to breathe. Her fingers tightened around the scarf until the silk wrinkled in her palm. Her mother's voice from the phone trembled. Asterisk, knock, it's yours. Always yours. Asterisk, and the sound cut to static, as if someone had yanked the device away. The man in the suit's hand remained outstretched, his expression calm, patient, like he already knew what choice she'd make. Her father moved closer to her, blocking the man from taking another step. Don't do this. You don't know what's inside it. What's inside? She demanded, her voice shaking. His eyes darted the scarf, then back to hers. Something worth more than all of us. Something people have died for. The suit's smile didn't falter. And will keep dying for until you decide. In the phone's feed, Chai's breathing was heavy, panicked. Then he looked straight into the camera and mouthed something, just one word, run. Her father glanced over his shoulder at the screen, his jaw clenching. We can save him, but not here, not like this. Lightning split the sky, flashing across the alley. In that brief burst of light, Knox saw the truth in both their faces. There would be no safe choice. The man in the suit stepped forward again, his voice low, almost gentle. Time's up, Knock. The scarf in her hand seemed to pulse with heat, as if it had its own heartbeat. The phone screen flickered, and through the static, her mother's voice came one last time. Asterisk, if you open it, you'll never be the same. Asterisk, the rain roared harder. The three of them froze in the alley, waiting for her next move. Knock closed her eyes for a moment, letting the rain wash over her face, the cold grounding her against the chaos swirling around her. When she opened them, her grip on the scarf was steady. She stepped past her father and faced the man in the suit, her voice calm, almost too quiet to hear over the storm. You want it? You'll get it, but on my terms. His brows lifted, intrigued. And those are... Her eyes flicked to the phone screen where Chai sat bound, his gaze locked on her. You let him go first. Unharmed. Right now. The man in the suit studied her for a long moment, the rain streaking down his face. Then, with a faint nod, he gestured to someone off-screen. The knife lowered from Chai's throat. Hands untied his wrists. She watched him stagger to his feet, still staring at her like he was trying to say something she couldn't yet hear. Now, the man said, stepping closer, the scarf. Knock took a slow breath, pulling it from her pocket. The silk shimmered faintly under the dim light, the colors richer than she remembered. She held it out, then let the wind catch it, the fabric whipping away into the rain. The man's expression darkened, his hand shooting out too late to grab it. The scarf spiraled down the alley, vanishing into the shadows. Her father's voice was sharp. Go! Knock turned and ran, her footsteps splashing through puddles, the phone still clutched in her hand. Behind her, she could hear the shouts of pursuit, the crash of bodies colliding, but she didn't look back. Up ahead, a figure stepped out from the darkness, Molly. Without a word, she grabbed Knock's arm and pulled her into a side street. They disappeared into the maze of rain-soaked alleys, the sound of chasing footsteps fading behind them. Somewhere in the distance, a clock tower struck the hour, and Knock knew nothing would ever be the same again.